extra time here as Leicester City made it 10 wins out of 11 at the start of the season. No team has ever made a better start to a championship campaign. So it's all smiles here at King Power Stadium at the moment. There's extra smiles too, because LCFC women made it 2 wins out of 2 for our Leicester sides here at home at the weekend. We'll talk about that game a little bit later on, as well as going globe-trotting with Iwan Roberts. Before any of that, though, we'll of course be talking about the men's victory on Saturday here against Stoke, as well as the remarkable start to the season. I'm Dan Bates, and tonight I'm joined by Gerry, Taggart and Matty Fryatt here in the studio alongside me, to my right and left. And the previously mentioned Iwan Roberts is also with us. He joins us via Zoom. So good evening to the three of you. How are we all? You two are obviously both here at the weekend.
Very good. Yeah, in terms of how I am or the game.
How you are? We'll do the pleasantries first.
Yeah, I'm good. Nice weather today.
Yeah. Nice weekend actually, Gerry, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Great weekend as far as Leicester City concerned, and a little bit of sunshine just helps you along on your Sunday afternoon stroll. All's well that ends well.
And last but not least, good evening to you, Iwan. How are you this evening? Another busy weekend, as it always is for you, gallivanting up and down the country.
Yeah, it was the Cardiff City Stadium for me. Nice to see Tags back from his globe trotting. A couple of weeks off, Tags. Nice bit of golf. Always good to see Matty. Good weekend. I mean, another dominating display at the King Power from the lads before the international break. It's always sort of go off with a convincing win, and that's what it was. 11 games played, 30 points. Leicester and Ipswich running away with this championship season. Still plenty of games to go. We know that, but it's such a nice feeling, Dan. I'm sure. Going into this international break with a 10-point cushion between Preston, who are sitting in third position. So been a really good positive week for the football club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a positive month, hasn't it, really, since that last international break. It couldn't really have gone much better for either the men or the women. As ever, if you're watching us either on Facebook or on YouTube, do get involved with the show this evening. Pop your comments or questions into the comments section. I'll ask some of these guys some of those and also read them out. But really, Gerry, I think overall, obviously, the mood is good because it feels like everything's just going right at the moment.
Yeah, and I think also when you're in good form like this and things are going well, that brings its own pressure. It's a different type of pressure, and you've seen yet again a team coming to King Power Stadium and setting up ultra defensively, and that brings its own pressure with you, because you're expected to perform in front of your home crowd. You're playing against a team that are struggling with injuries, and obviously in the league table itself, they're struggling. I think they're down in 18th for the were before the game started, something like that. So that brings its own pressures. But yet again, they just showed, they found a way to break that defensive wall down, that defensive block down from Stoke City. And once they'd done that, the game was basically a foregone conclusion. Okay, Stoke had one or two opportunities, won it right at the beginning of the second half. But other than that, there was nothing really to shout about as far as Stoke were concerned.
They literally played into Leicester's hands, though, didn't they? They didn't park one bus; they put multiple buses. It was. I've never seen anything quite as bizarre in terms of a tactical. Obviously, there was injuries for the Stoke camp, but the amount of numbers they got behind the ball. If there was a heat map when you saw Yannick Vestergaard and Harry Souttar, I think for most of it, they were 30 yards out from Stoke's goal, much of the first half, and it was a case of Leicester weren't really probing too much. They were just moving the ball, but Stoke weren't offering anything. There were just bodies there. And then there was one classy moment in the first half where a really good ball from Ricardo Pereira. And the touch, we mentioned the touch at half-time, and you mentioned that it wasn't a perfect touch, but because it was into the space, it took it away from the defender. And you'd fancy Kelechi even from a tight angle. And obviously, once you're 1-0 up, then you've got that to hold on to, and you expect Stoke to come out a little bit more. They didn't. Sat in for 60-odd minutes.
60 minutes, something like that, yeah.
And then Leicester looked more threatening when actually Stoke went for the game a little bit more, and then it opened up, and Leicester had loads more chances to be even more comfortable, and then the second confirmed it. Good impact by the substitutes as well.
Yeah.
Wilfred Ndidi and Jamie Vardy.
I don't think it would have mattered what sort of tactics Stoke would have employed on Saturday. I think that the result was, from pretty early on, was always going to be a Leicester win. As you say, after 16 minutes, they try and go a little bit more attacking. The game opens up, and Leicester just exploit that. Wilfred Ndidi could have had a hat-trick, but he got an assist, 2 close misses. Keenan Dewsbury Hall again, through one-on-one. Keeper does well, to be fair. The game just sort of opened up. So I don't really think it would have made any difference if Stoke had started the game that way, or finished the game that way, the way they did. They were just second best on the day, full stop.
Do you think, though, a part of that is with the mindset? They've gone into it. If I would have been, say, the forward for the opposition, and thinking I'm not even feeding off scraps.
No.
There's nothing here. They've already gone to sort of, even before the game, if it would have been 1-0 to Leicester, I think they would have taken that. And I think it sort of played into Leicester's hands by how negative they were. And even if they, like you say, even if they matched them, but at least they may have showed something and maybe tested Leicester a little bit more than what actually they did. It was a case of, when's the breakthrough going to come? The breakthrough came, and then they still sort of sat in there. That was just generally watching Leicester take it all day long.
Yeah.
It was the good in possession. It was controlled throughout. Stoke hardly were involved in the game by a couple of chances. I think there was one big chance just after half-time, but throughout, you're just waiting for Leicester to win in a routine performance and get through it, really. I don't want to be too negative on Stoke, but it just felt as if they were there to be beat.
Yeah, I think when you go back and you watch the 2 centre forwards for Stoke, literally sat on Ricardo and Harry Winks. And in the past, when teams come to King Power, they push their 2 central midfielders higher up the pitch to stop Winks and Ricardo, trying to stop, getting the game going, getting Leicester on the front foot. But they actually used an extra barrier by putting their 2 centre forwards on the 2 midfielders, which enabled then, as you said, Suter and Vestergaard to have as much time as they wanted. So offering nothing as a pressing team whatsoever, and just relying on hoping and praying that Leicester couldn't break through their defensive line.
A lot of people, Ewan, have played in a lot of different styles, I guess, against Leicester so far this season. And other than that whole game, obviously, where actually Leicester, I think the general consensus is we're unlucky not to at least get a point from that game, if not all 3, have been able to counteract whatever has been thrown at them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Kelechi's goal in the first half is only the second goal that Leicester have scored in the first half at the King Power. I don't think it's a coincidence when Leicester have been on the road that they've scored a lot more goals, because teams have to come out, because the onus is on you as the home side to be a bit more attacking. And we've seen time and time again, Leicester hit teams away from home on the counter-attack. I mean, the young lad, Nathan, though, he did have a great chance to equal things just after half-time with that free header that he missed. I mean, 6 changes again from the team that started against Preston. 3 of those changes in the back 4. I didn't see the game. I think Hamza played on the left of the 4 in that left back position. He played as a right back at Norwich and was outstanding. And just a question for Tags, really. I mean, he brought Harry Suter in for his first start in the league. He brought Yannick Vestergaard back in after he'd missed the Preston game through suspension. How did that back 4 look? I mean, I don't think they had too much to do, to be fair. I think Stoke only had 2 shots, one on target. Were you surprised, Tags, that he changed the central pairing?
Under normal circumstances, you would be, because that is a vital partnership in a team, is your centre-half pairing. And normally you wouldn't see that. Same with the 2 guys in central midfield. You know, they're integral to how Leicester want to play. But you know, I'm not saying we've seen it in regards to the back four, but you know, Enzo Maresca obviously sees what goes on in training every day. He sort of said as much that these players deserve the game because, you know, their attitudes have been good in training. They've stepped up. They understand how he wants to play, and so Harry Souttar basically, you know, deserved the start on Saturday and did well. You know, absolutely let nobody down. And when needed, you know, obviously when with set pieces, defending set pieces, he was there when Leicester needed him. So it was an encouraging game, and it just strengthened the resolve of the squad. That if there is, you know, if the worst does come to the worst, and there is injuries, suspensions, whatever down the line, then he has the manpower sitting on the bench to, you know, come in and do a job.
Yeah, very much using that squad. On Facebook, Harvey Sadra, if I'm saying that right, Harvey says, "Good evening all. Loving the football at the moment. Feels like the good old days with the magnificent O'Neill era and Ranieri's boys as well. It really does feel. I think, yeah, exactly like the good old days. Every single fan is bouncing into every game." But Steve comes up with an interesting point, Gerry. You were here for the Coventry game right at the start of the season. He says, teams that come to the King Power Stadium need to watch back how Coventry set up against us. They should have beaten us on the day. We were still raw, yes, because it was the start of the season, but they played the counter perfectly.
Yeah, they did. And Leicester at times looked stretched, but I think it's a different Leicester team now. They're not getting as stretched as they were at the beginning of the season. I think that even the Cardiff game, once or twice, they looked stretched. And Cardiff, per finishing again, all right, the chances probably weren't as clean cut as they were against Coventry. But I just think they're just that little bit tighter now. The cohesion between the midfield and the back line, you know, as Matty Fryatt's just mentioned it, that when Leicester have the ball, the back line are squeezing up. They're getting into a good position. They're not, the distance between the lines is better. They're supporting each other. I think I seen Hamza Chowdhury on Saturday make a cross-field run from left back to right back to stop a potential potential attacking chance for Stoke, and that is what you're talking about in the cohesion between the back line is a lot more better than it was said at the beginning of the season against Coventry.
I think it would be the blueprint, wouldn't it? I know Leicester have improved from there, but they've won in all different manners, whether coming from behind, whether it being on the counter press or the counter attack, or being patient and waiting for that goal. So it's difficult for the rest of the team in the championships, which Leicester don't mind. They can win anyway, and they've got the players that once it gets stretched, they can just run through and go past teams. And for me, I look at that Southampton game and they just ran all over Southampton. And I think teams are wary of that as well. So yes, you could maybe go gung-ho or sort of attack it how Coventry did. Personally, watching it, as if you set up a team, I'd prefer my teams to do that if I was managing. But then you saw the flip of it where sort of Stoke is sitting in trying to grind out a 0-0 or keep it as low as possible. But Leicester can win either way. It doesn't matter. And I think some of it, especially from the weekend, because of the injuries, it was sort of damage limitation to it. But they've shown they can win different ways with all different types of players in terms of changing it around, making changes, and they're effective in both ways of the game, whether it be in terms of possession or on the counter.
But when you think, lads, they're getting it right in both penalty boxes, which is massively important. Yeah. The best defensive record in the league, conceded 6 in 11 games. Only Ipswich have scored more goals. And if you think, if you look back before the international break, that defeat against Hurling, we said it's all about responding now when they come back in a couple of weeks' time. Played 6 games since that whole game. They've won 6. They've scored 16 goals. But this is the most important, the one that catches my eye. Conceded just 2. One goal conceded in the last 5 games, I think, and that was that sloppy one against Blackburn, which probably could have been avoided. If you're getting things right in both boxes, defensively and attacking-wise, you've got a magnificent chance. You really have. Jamie Vardy, that was his 4th goal in 6 games. That was Kelechi's 4th in 5 games. The forwards are now starting to get into a rhythm, and you know what it's like, Matty. Once you start getting on that run and putting that ball in the back of the net, you get into that good habit. It's hard to stop. Only 2 players have created more goals than Wilfred and Ndidi from midfield. I mean, I can go on, Dan, but there's so many positives, absolutely so many positives about Leicester after 11 games.
I think you picked up on it after the game, Gerry, about Wilfred and Ndidi, the change, and to say that in terms of that stat, in terms of assists and being a creative force, would have been unheard of before pre-season began. We saw, obviously, in the early games, he was breaking forward and getting into them positions, a little bit different from what we've seen in the past. He's been a revelation in terms of getting into them areas, and isn't quite perhaps working for Cassidy at the minute, but he should look at what Wilfred's doing, and he's arriving, whether it be starting a game or coming on, and arriving in really good positions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the manager has to take credit for that, full credit for that, for realising that there's a different side to Wilfred and Ndidi that nobody else saw. And, but been very easy, to, not discard Wilfred and Ndidi, but, try and play him in a different role. But he's gone, you know what, this guy can do a job as an attacking midfielder, which I've never seen him play before. And I'm sure up until this season, since he's been here. But he's absolutely flying. And, full credit has to go to the manager.
Yeah,
and Wilfred, of course, for becoming a different type of player.
And he really has stepped up, as Ewan rightly says. Only 2 midfielders have created more goals for their teams in the Championship this season. Let's get the first of our Lurdles then tonight. If you are new to us here on Extra Time, Lurdle is a little game that we play. Snippets of commentary of a Leicester City goal. The clues get easier as the evening goes on. So if you manage to get it after clue number 1 or clue number 2, then you've done a very good job. So here is clue number 1. We are looking for the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against. If you get your answers in the comments section, I will read out some incorrect ones to start with, but I'll certainly write your name down if you get it right. Here's clue number 1.
And it's headed away easily by Iborra, and it turned, or nearly turned, into an excellent pass for Mahrez, battling away in the centre of midfield.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a tough one. A really tough one to start with. I'll play it one more time for you.
And it's headed away easily by Iborra, and it turned, or nearly turned, into an excellent pass for Mahrez, battling away in the centre of midfield.
Well, you can definitely narrow down what season potentially it is, or couple of seasons it is, with the 2 players that were mentioned. Right, goal scorers then. As Ewan rightly said, both Ian Asho and Jamie Vardy scoring their 4th goals of the season, respectively, of course, the 2 of them. Firstly, Kelechi Iheanacho, you've touched upon it already a little bit about the fact that his first touch maybe wasn't the best, but actually that kind of helped him in the end. And because he's left-footed, he was able to, a bit like Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall did in the week against Preston, just fire it past the goalkeeper.
They were similar. Obviously, Keenan was coming onto it, but in terms of the touch, it wasn't perfect, but that opened up the space and took him away from the defender, because then he would have had to come the other side and it would have been a penalty anyway. Yeah. So in the end, it was an ideal touch, because then he's running onto the ball. Yes, the angle's tight, but you'd expect him to finish, and he duly delivered. But it was similar to Kiernan's, just from that angle, cross goal, really good finish. So you could say, yes, the touch wasn't perfect, but it was probably a perfect touch because it took him away. Because if it's that tight, the defender might come back in. There's quite a lot of bodies around. It just opened up that space, but it was excellent finish. But that's what happens when you inform, when you're scoring regularly. You get that one, sometimes it might go away or run a bit too heavy, or the keeper might get onto it. But when you inform, these things seem to come off. The touch wasn't quite right, but it worked out well. And then you see the change. Once the game was open up, Kelechi came into the game a lot more, and he would have been frustrated that coming off at that time in the game. And then Jamie Vardy comes on and does what he does and goes off celebrating, but he's in good form as well, looking sharp when he's playing, or even coming on and making a difference, runs in behind in a different threat.
Yeah, I think Kelechi's just got that ability anyway, to be able to wrap his foot around the ball and finish in tight areas. And that's exactly what it was. I actually think if his touch had been better, he'd have more time probably to drive it into that bottom right-hand corner as we looked at it in the commentary position. But because it wasn't as clean a touch as he probably would have liked, he still had that ability to wrap his foot round it and fire it across the keeper with a little bit of whip on it, albeit the defender in close proximity, but still unable to do anything about it. So, there would have been an opportunity for Kelechi, 2 different types of finishes probably, and he still pulled it off. So yeah, top goal, and a great little ball from Ricardo as well. Yeah. I mean, that was precision personified from Ricardo Pereira, and that can't go unnoticed.
I mean, it sums it up, Ewan, doesn't it, really, that's Ricardo, technically the starting right-back in a number 10 position like that. Really just show that the style of play under Enzo Maresca is fantastic to watch and fantastic to see and just so different.
Dan, I mean, you took the words right in my mouth. That's your right-back, sort of on the left-hand side of the opposition's penalty box. And when I sort of first saw the build-up to the goal, I actually thought that Ricardo was going to try and shoot with his left foot, but it didn't quite sit for him. But as Tag said, if we saw James Maddison sort of producing that sort of pass to open a defence for Iheanacho to score, we'd be talking about it for weeks to come. That's the sort of pass you would expect from James Maddison. But for your right back to be in that position, and it just goes to show the freedom that Enzo sort of sends his players out to play with. And it was such a clinical finish. The first touch wasn't great. The second one was absolutely magnificent.
John Davis on Facebook says the international break feels a lot better than the last one. Obviously, Leicester losing that game to Hull heading into the last international break. He feels like this is a bit.
You don't want it, Dan. You don't want it. You don't want an international break.
No, exactly. Yeah, he says it feels like a case of catch us if you can. I mean, Leicester 2 points clear of Ipswich at the top and 10 points clear of third place as well, which is
quite remarkable.
Fantastic at the start of this season, 11 games in. Also on Facebook, Stuart Russell has had a guess at our Lurdle this evening. He's incorrect. He said Kelechi Iheanacho against West Brom. So that's not right. So let's play clue number 2 and see if any more people can have an idea with this one. A reminder, we're looking for the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against.
And it's headed away easily by Iborra, and it nearly turned into an excellent pass for Mahrez, battling away in the centre of midfield. And Ndidi recycles it nicely to Albrighton, who is making progress on this near side, the left, onto his right foot. There are numbers at the back post. Mahrez onside.
There we go. There's clue number 2 for you. Goal scorer and team that it was scored against. We're after Bubba Tolerico, who is a regular listener. Good evening to you, Bubba, on Facebook. Says there's just a great spirit in the team at the moment, and he's right. You can just see it. Pretty much every goal that's scored, but they're all celebrating together. You can feel there's a connection with the fans again, and at the moment, just everything is just feel good.
Everything's just going well, isn't it? In terms of changes, people come in, people go out, and there's that unity, that togetherness, and it does help through winning. It brings that. The fans are obviously excited to come along every single week, expectant of a victory. The players are confident. And so far, it's just everything is, even with the changes, it just comes off. It's just going so well. Don't want to get too carried away, but at the minute, it just looks an incredible season. And for the others, it's just, you fear for the other teams. There is that fear factor involved. The Stoke looked as if they were rabbits in headlights coming to the King Power at the weekend, let alone the other teams that below them. And you just think, good to go into the international break with a win, but you also think, do you want more games as well? And just literally fire up. They could play every single day of the week at the minute. They're that full of confidence, and everyone wants to be part of it. And of course, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, when you imagine, boys, looking back after we beat West Ham last day of the season, but I think Everton beat Bournemouth, didn't they? And the disappointment, and I mean, we walked into relegation. No one expected it at the start of last season. The players that left in the summer, there's huge disappointment with some of the players that have left. But Enzo's come in. There's a freshness about what he's doing. The signings have been quality. They've settled in straight away. And all I can hear now, I go to different grounds with the work that I do for the BBC, and all I can hear is no one's beating Leicester. No one is ending above Leicester in this championship season. And I think teams will play Leicester, and I think they're beaten even before the ball's kicked, because they will look at the squad, they will look at the strength in depth. I mean, Saturday, you've got Ndidi, Vardy, Albrighton. You've got 2 Premier League winners coming on to try and put the game to bed. I mean, I'm starting to feel sorry for the rest of the championship. I really am.
They must, Gerry, when they see Kelechi Iheanacho's about to go off, breathe a sigh of relief, and then see that the assistant's board reads number 9, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, it's not good reading, is it, for the opposition? That is for sure. I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think when you're playing that style of football as a professional footballer, you're waking up every morning thinking, get me into training. Okay, it's hard work. We were away on pre-season tour and talking to some of the players, and it was hard work, and they were whinging, they were tired, and they were aching, but they're nice seeing the rewards. And this is better than lumping the ball forward and fighting for knockdowns, which was the style that I used to play here. And to be fair, it worked to great effect. But I do think this style of football that Enzo's brought in has got everyone buzzing. Yes, winning games obviously helps that, but now they've got that momentum and they've got the points on the board and they've got that gap between themselves and third place. As a player, you just want more of it. You could wake up every day and if there was a game every other day, you've gone, bring it on, because the style of play. And now, 11 games in, you are starting to see a well-oiled machine. And you've probably seen that before. Probably the Southampton game, I would say, was when Leicester sort of kicked in the gear and thought, right, this is a big
just game. After that international break, wasn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Kick in the gear. Southampton, a fancy team before the season. But Leicester just ran away with that, and have just continued on that, momentum and on that winning streak. And as I say, you're just seeing a well-oiled machine. That was a question that was asked before the season started, and me and you were going, how many games do you think it'll take before Leicester will really, get into their stride? And we can answer it now, about 8 or 9 games. I'm not saying now, moving through the gears, anything that's put in their way, they know that they're more than capable of dealing with it.
Interesting point, actually, from Steve again on YouTube. He says the most pleasing thing to see is the fans have now bought into Enzo's style. The contrast at home now compared to the start of the season, there was a few moans and groans when the ball was maybe passed backwards, but he says the fans and supporters now understand what we're trying to achieve in the build-up, and they can see that, and they're seeing the fruits of it.
Yeah, and the fans, like everybody else, are just going to have to get used to it, because Enzo ain't going to change, and he's definitely not going to change
when you're 10 out of 11.
When you're 10 out of 11. So, well done the fans for getting into it, like we all have. And but it's all about the end product. It's a philosophy that he's brought, a brand new philosophy that Enzo has brought to this club, that a lot of people, including ourselves as pundits and as commentators, haven't seen before. But the results are positive, the momentum is good, and everybody in that dressing room must be buzzing as a player, as I said, because there's no better feeling than a footballer when you pass a team off the pitch and you're scoring 2 or 3 goals. Instead of having to run the channels every 30 seconds, and you're coming off the pitch as if one of your lungs had burst through your chest. The lads, they're just full of it. They're running teams they're playing teams off the pitch. Teams can't cope with Leicester at the end of games because they continually pass them off the pitch. The gaps appear, and they're taking their chances.
Both myself and you, and when you said that, knew exactly what you meant.
Listen, I had to run in the channels as well. They chase you down. But you see very little of that at the minute.
It's all controlled, isn't it?
It's all controlled.
And when it's moved at the right time, they've shown the quality. But even from Saturday, it stuck to that identity, that style, that philosophy, where they've got 3 at the back, because you could have easily played it in when Fatawu and Hamza Chowdhury played it and followed his pass. Instead, it's no, there's 3 at the back, 2 sort of holding players with Ricardo going in, joining the midfield, and then you're going to break it up through that way. There was no change because the space was play it into the wide player, then maybe an overlap. No, there's 3 at the back, 2 holding, the control in the midfield, work the ball through, and it still kept it, even though on Saturday you're looking from thinking, can more be done? Can there be more probing? Can there be runs from perhaps Hamza Chowdhury if he plays it in and gets round, or try it the other way? But no, this is the way we play. It's played wide. We're going to support with 3 at the back, 2 holding midfielders, look to break through with attacking midfielder runs, or the wide player, take someone on and create. Didn't change from that, and in the end it came through. And at times you think, could that be? But no, this is the way we play. It's all methodical, and obviously the quality's there to be seen, but everything is done with a purpose and a style, and everyone's playing into that.
And that's against a team who came here and parked 3 double-decker buses in front of the goal.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't cope.
Yeah, they couldn't.
Let's take a look at how some of the Leicester City players reacted then on social media to yet another victory. 10 wins out of 11 in the league. Jamie Varley said, what a week. 2 wins from 2 at home. Brilliant atmosphere as always. Ricardo Pereira, a good win to finish my birthday celebrations. Thank you for your birthday wishes. He was a very happy man after another good weekend for him. Abdul Fatwa says, great win, lads. What a great feeling to always have these wonderful fans behind you. They are the best. They really have been fantastic at the start of this season, the supporters, haven't they? And finally, Harry Winks says, great way to finish the week going into the international break. Fans were class as always. It's great to see the players having that connection with the supporters. Speaking of supporters and speaking of wins at King Power Stadium, that wasn't the only one at the weekend. And it's not just LCFC men who are top of their league, because LCFC women are also top of the WSL at the start of this new season. Yesterday afternoon, they played here at King Power Stadium and made it 2 wins from 2 at the start of their season. Everton were the visitors and saw a first-half penalty saved by Janina Leitzig in the Leicester goal. That, if anything, galvanised the Foxes, who scored the only goal of the game in the second half. Here's their manager, Willie Kirk, who was a happy man at full-time.
I thought it was a really good game, I'm sure, for supporters to watch. I thought we had a really good opening 15-20 minutes. We seemed to lose a little bit. I don't know if we lost belief, but we just seemed to start doing the hard thing rather than keeping it simple, and which was really effective. And then we tailed off towards the end of that half, and obviously Yanni pulled off the penalty save, which, yeah, it's debatable if it was a penalty as far as I'm concerned. But second half, I thought Everton started brightly, and we had to work our way into the game. We started sitting off a little bit deeper, and we had to work hard to make sure the girls were high. And the goal was fantastic in terms of the pass from Sam Tierney was outstanding, and the finish for Leno is what we're beginning to expect from her now. And yeah, I thought we'd seen the game out okay. Obviously, they started changing things and throwing things at it, as you can expect. The last thing they want is 0 points after 2. So yeah, we withstood it, and a couple of little bits and pieces of luck. But you know, I'm a great believer that you make your own luck, and we deserved that today.
Yeah, it took them, well, I think until January, or certainly around Christmas time, to get their first point of the season last season. They've made it 6 from 6 at the start of this one. It really has been a brilliant start. Lena Peterman scored her second of the season in the second half to make it 1-0 after being played through brilliantly, as Willie Kirk just referenced there, by Sam Tierney, who was asked after the game how impressed they are with their start to the season.
Yeah, I think, don't get me wrong, the Super League, every year it gets stronger. It's different. I think, obviously, as you've seen, I think similar position to us was Brighton last week, and they obviously won their first game. But, you know, it's down to the hard work we've been doing. Again, you've spoke about the players that we've brought in. That adds a different element to our team this year. And learning, I think, having them experiences in the Super League and the way that we had them is important for us. So we know what to expect, and hopefully week on week we can build on that.
That was Sam Tierney there, the assist maker, speaking after the game on her birthday as well yesterday. So happy birthday to her. And again, a little bit like Ricardo, celebrating his birthday over the weekend with a victory. Sam Tierney did the same. 2 wins from 2 for the women at the start of the season. Really good start, Gerry.
Yeah, excellent start. And I actually met a couple of girls here at the game on Saturday, Sophie Howard, I think, and the keeper, Yanni, who's been a revelation ever since she's come to the club. And again on Sunday, you know, was called in the action on numerous occasions, and you know, and really looks the part, you have to say. So slowly but surely, Leicester, building a squad. Leicester's women, should I say, building a squad that can be competitive. And I'm not sure of the stats. I'm sure you and I'll have a feel of women's stats, but I think there's not more away goals in one game against Bristol than they scored the whole of last season.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, the finish at home yesterday against Everton was top drawer pass and a top drawer finish. I mean, excellent football going forward as well at times. So, a really, really positive start for their season.
Yeah, I mean, it's just positivity all round, Matty Fryatt, isn't it? We've been talking about the men with their brilliant start, the women 2 from 2 as well.
Just mirroring the men, aren't they? It's just a fantastic feeling. The men are winning, the women are winning. It's just great to be around that whole energy. And even as Gerry said, the girls were in watching the men's team at the weekend and feeling that connection with the fans, and then going to their own game, having come and watched that on Saturday, going to their own and using it as their own fuel, and then go and getting an impressive win and off to a cracking start. 2 games that we would have probably looked at the start of the season are winnable on paper, but they've gone and delivered and set it up nicely.
Yes, Karen Allen on Facebook says, I don't like the international break. We're on a roll. Let's hope it doesn't make a difference. And well done also to LCFC women as well, who've done really well. Right, let's do clue number 3 for our Lardle before Iwan Roberts takes the reins for Globetrotting. We are looking for the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against. We've had a couple of clues already. This clue also incorporates those 2. So let us know who scores it and who against.
And it's headed away easily by Iborra, and it turned, or nearly turned, into an excellent pass for Mahrez, battling away in the centre of midfield. And Ndidi recycles it nicely to Albrighton, who is making progress on this near side, the left, onto his right foot. There are numbers at the back post. Mahrez onside to Okazaki. Brilliant from Leicester City. That is Leicester City of old here at the Liberty Stadium.
There you go. The eagle-eared listeners might have just got that at the end. Gerry wrote it down in fairness before the big clue at the end. Well done to you. Get your guesses in, please, for us on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So we need the goal scorer and the team that it was scored against. Right, we missed Globetrotting last week, didn't we, Ewan? Because we ran out of time because we were just eulogising about Leicester's start to the season, and we were lambasted on social media. All the comments were coming in saying we've missed Globetrotting, we want Ewan's bit, so we made sure we've gone to it in plenty time tonight. What have you got for us?
The best be good this year.
It's not about the big leagues, boys. It's not about the Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, the Bundesliga. We cover all the leagues on Globetrotting. This week we're going to the National League. Dagenham Redbridge beat York City last week. The score ended up Dagenham 1. They took the lead after 60 minutes. Then Linnell John Lewis, what a name that is. He scores on 85 minutes. There's 8 minutes of added time, as there is in most games this time with the new rules or whatever. Anyway, Christopher Akinyemi, he scores his 8th of the season on 94 minutes. York are leading 2-1. And we all know about players wasting time, and we saw Alex Greenwood get sent off for Manchester City ladies yesterday in the 38th minute, second yellow card, wasting time. Anyway, they get a free kick with a minute to go, and Daniel Batty, sort of halfway in Dagenham's half, Daniel Batty puts it down. He's not putting it into the box. He's not putting it into the channel. He's put it over the stand on purpose. Honestly, you've got to watch it. You've got to watch it on social media. I don't know if it's the son of the great David Batty, I'm not sure, but he just smashes it out of the Dagenham Redbridge Stadium. That's the best way to waste time.
No multi-ball then, Ewan.
Sorry, Gav.
Sorry. No multi-ball in that game then, in the National League.
I don't think there was, mate. I don't think there was, honestly. It's hilarious. Dan will show you
Yeah,
after.
I've seen it. Honestly, I have seen it, yeah.
I was cracking up. You two boys have got a couple of sort of examples for us, haven't you?
It's Gerry. I've got one, but before that, it reminded me of that clip of the player of the Pete K advert.
Yeah.
Have it.
Where it just smash it. Have it. You've got to see it. It's hilarious. Just clearing the stand. But yeah, against one of your former teams, Ewan, Norwich, when the opposition scored, you'd have one of the Norwich players run to the goal to stop. We were actually losing in the game, so trying to recover the ball to get back to the halfway line to restart the game, one of the Norwich players would chase the ball into the goal, get from the net, and throw it over or behind the goal, either over the top of the stand or into the fans of the home supporters, and keep the ball. So they were doing this, and this game we played in was a ding-dong. I think Norwich went 4-2 up, and I noticed what they was doing before when the ball had gone in the goal, getting rid of the ball. So actually scored to make it 4-3. And the centre-back who had managed to get the finish past sprinted with me, wasn't a fast race, into the goal, lays belly on the ball in the goal net. I was trying to kick the ball from him. There's obviously a melee. I get sent off and they lose the ball, and yeah, more time wasting. But yeah, that's what Norwich did. It was really annoying, but I got sent off for it. So Norwich players recovering the ball and trying to throw it behind the goal so you don't get any momentum.
But by the sounds of it, it sounds similar to the ball boy at Swansea against Chelsea. He just lied on the ball, and then Hazard sort of kicked it and got the red card. Sorry, Tags, I rudely interrupted you.
No, you didn't, because I don't have a story, because I was never, well, in regards to, listen, there's loads of age-old tricks, isn't there, in regards to time wasting and...
The bootlaces.
Yeah, you name it, the old one is run it to the corner. I used to, when the ball was going out for a goal kick and you were winning, but you were under pressure, you'd obviously stand there and try and shield the ball out of play as much as you can, let it roll out. Frustration from the opposition forward would be to come running in, trying to keep the ball in play while I'm trying to let it roll out of play. And the old pros trick, as soon as you feel the touch, you go down on the ground and get the free kick. And then obviously that just wastes a bit more time, but there's so many to mention as far as
the keeper one used to annoy me.
Yeah.
Where he'd drop it, and then you'd have to go and close the keeper down, and as you got to the keeper, he'd just lay on the ball. Oh, yeah. So annoying. And then you'd go away, and then he'd drop it again, and you close it, and then he'd clear his lines. It was like, oh.
I actually played in a time, believe it or not. Ewan will have done as well. When
the back pass?
The back pass was allowed to the keeper. Yeah. The keeper could pick it up. So that was a favourite one when you're holding on. You'd get it off the keeper. Centre forward would come and close you down. You just clip it back to the keeper. Keeper would pick it up, and then there's nothing you can do. But, for the betterment of the game, that they got rid of that right where the keeper can't pick it up.
Dags, look at Dan's face. Look at Dan's face. What do you mean? You could you could pick it up.
Yeah. Well, those were
clearly one of the best rule changes I think ever made in the game. Thank you very much, Ewan, for that. I'm stopping it slightly early because I think Jenga might go on a while this evening because it's a pretty good one. Okay. So we'll do the final of our 4 Lurdle clues then. We've had a guess from Lynn Hutchinson. She says, is it the Okazaki overhead kick against Newcastle? No, it isn't. I will just quickly play it one last time for you. We need the goal scorer and the team it was scored against.
And the result.
You've got it. Oh, it doesn't seem to be playing there. We'll come back to that then. Actually, technical difficulties as ever that we have. I'll try it again.
Build, Ndidi recycles it nicely to Albrighton, who is making progress on this near side, the left, onto his right foot. There are numbers at the back post. Mahrez onside to Okazaki. Brilliant from Leicester City. That is Leicester City of old here at the Liberty Stadium. Mahrez to Okazaki, who scores. The Japanese go straight to Mahrez to say that goal's for you because you made it beautifully. And Leicester City striking just after half-time to make it 0 Leicester 2.
Stuart Russell has guessed again. Unfortunately, it isn't right. He says Club Bruges this time. No, it's not Club Bruges. Bubba Tolerico has said boom because he knows that Gerry Taggart has got it.
Come on, Bubba. Bubba's my wingman.
Who is it then, Gerry?
Swansea City.
Swansea City, yes. And the link obviously is the next game for the Foxes after the international break. Right, speaking of international breaks, the clue for our football Jenga this evening, I'll read it out before I update on the prediction league, is name any player to have represented their country whilst a Leicester City player since the year 2000. So since the year 2000, name any player to have represented their country whilst being a Leicester City player. Yes, could potentially go on quite a while at this one. Right, let's quickly have a look at our prediction league. We send each of the guests, including myself, 5 results or 5 fixtures to predict from. If we get the result correct, we get 1 point. If we get the score bang on, we get 3 points. So the first game of the weekend was on Friday evening. It finished Birmingham 3, West Brom 1. Nobody backed a home win there, so nobody gets a point. Next up, we move into Saturday. This was a turn up for the books, wasn't it? And Tony Cottee is the only person to get a point. He predicted Middlesbrough to beat Sunderland. Everyone else said the other way round. Everyone gets 1 point for saying Ipswich to beat Preston. Again, no one got the score bang on correct there. It would have been a pretty good guess to get 2-2 correct. I said 1-1 for Millwall against Hull, so I'm the only person that gets a point, the only one that said a draw in that one. And finally, both myself and Tony got this one bang on. We said 1-1. There was a very late own goal from Norwich there, which gifted Coventry a point and gifted me and Tony 3 points each. Let's see what that's done to the table. And Iwan Roberts, I'm off the bottom. There we go. That's put a smile on my face. Tony Cottee has gone top as well, Gerry. Your very good start, you and Matt, has left the door open now for Tony, who's gone top. Both of us getting 5 points this game week. You and Ewan only getting 1 point. Ewan doesn't care though. He's too invested in our football Jenga this evening, which a reminder is name any player that's represented their country whilst being a Leicester City player since the year 2000.
Is that the season or the 1st of January 2000?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually, Gerry, on that one. Let's just say since the 1st of January, so since 2000. A reminder then, if someone says one that's been said before, they are out. If they say one that's wrong, they are out. And it is the last person standing out of the 4 of us. Matty Fryatt, with that look on your face, you can go first for us, please.
Vardy.
Yep, that is correct, obviously. Gerry?
Guppy. Steve Guppy.
There will be a little delay because there's a lot of answers. Just so we know that, Gerry, because I don't want you to feel your heart rate.
I know it's true. I know it's true.
Right, we'll move on then. Yeah, there we go. Iwan Roberts. We skipped me there, so I'll quickly go. I'll say Wilfred and Ndidi, and then we'll go to Ewan, and we'll get back in order. So, Ewan. Have you said one there, Ewan? Oh, we've just got you on. I think you're on mute. Have you muted yourself, Ewan? Try to get. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Time faults.
Kasper Michael.
Right, back to you, Matty.
Andy King.
Lee King. Good
One more time. Repeat it.
Andy King.
I'll say Kelechi Iheanacho. And now back round to you, Gerry.
Danny Ward.
James Maddison.
Patson Daka.
Yep. Harry Maguire.
Wes Morgan.
Johnny Evans.
Wout Fass.
Ricardo
Yes.
Pereira.
Oh, you've gone. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll come in after Gerry. I'll say Gerry Taggart. That's why I was looking at you. Thought you'd have said yourself by now,
No, I
Gerry.
was keeping that till the end.
Round to you, Ewan.
Yuri Tillemans.
Gareth McCauley.
I will say Timothy Castagna.
Is it on me?
Yeah.
James Justin.
Yeah, nice.
it on me?
Yeah. Yes, Ewan, yeah.
Riyad Mahrez.
Okazaki.
Muzzy, is it?
Matt Elliott.
Soyuncu.
Oh.
Dennis Pratt.
Dennis Pratt. Jesus.
Harry Suter.
Oh, killing me. Heskey. Emil Heskey.
Danny Drinkwater.
I thought this one would go on. It is going on. We're all still in.
Patrick Kisnorbo.
Oh. Where did you pull that from?
Yannick Vestergaard.
Is it full internationals
Panicked for a second there.
or under 21s as well?
I think we'll go for full internationals.
Right.
Yeah.
Frank
Is it
Sinclair.
on?
Frank Sinclair.
Yeah.
Perez. Oh, leave it out.
Yeah. No, Jose Perez incorrect. That is you and out. So that just leaves the three of us in the studio then. Starting with you, Matty.
Ian Hume.
Wow. Mind you, that was your earl, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's like the guppy one.
I'm going to say Rashid Ghazal. Me out. Had a couple as well there that I knew. That was a gamble. Gerry and Matty Fryatt are the two that are left.
I'll say Andy and B. I think that's wrong then.
Oh, wow. Matty Fryatt. Get one to win it, mate.
Oh.
Oh, you don't want to choke now, do you?
No. Joey Johnson.
Oh, where's he pulling these from?
Well
Where's he
done.
pulling these from?
Is that your first ever Jenga victory?
Yeah,
is it?
it is.
Yeah, well done.
That's incredible.
Well done, Matty Fryatt. You deserved that then.
Yeah.
You deserved that. Helped going back to your era, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, well done, though. Well done. Thank you very much to Matty Fryatt, tonight's Jenga champion, to Iwan Roberts for joining us via Zoom. So you're bottom of the prediction league, Ewan, and
Thanks,
you went
Sam.
out first in Jenga as well. That's not been a good
That's
Monday.
the championship.
You know nothing, Roberts. You know nothing.
Thank you as well to Gerry Taggart. As we have discussed, it is the international break. That means we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time, of course, starting with that game against Swansea on the first Saturday back, where Leicester City, if they get a point in that game, will break the record for the best start to a championship season. I'll be hoping, though, for all three, of course. Thank you to everyone who's listened and commented, as ever, on the show this evening. I hope you have a great couple of weeks, and we'll see you all back here in a fortnight.